Well, a very good afternoon to everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly, but just let me know if you can't and I'll turn myself up. I'm very excited for this rehearsal. We have some absolutely wonderful music to play. The opening fanfare, Sunrise, from Strauss's Also sprach Zarathustra, which is a piece that I'm sure all of you will know from at least the various films that it's been in, such as 2001: Space Odyssey, and the glorious third movement, the slow movement from Rachmaninoff's Second Symphony. Lots of people know Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, also because it features in a film. Is it in Gone with the Wind or something like that? But the Second Symphony, in some ways, less well known, or at least often confused with the Second Piano Concerto, but at least a piece of equal beauty and depth. It's just absolutely glorious. It's amazing to think, actually, that the Second Symphony of Rachmaninoff was often, almost always played for the first sort of several decades of its existence in a cut form. They cut great chunks of it out because they thought it was too long, which is hard to believe now if you know the piece. I would say that because they're both excerpts, if you haven't already, go and listen to the rest of Also sprach, because it is an absolutely fantastic piece. One of Strauss's most thrilling and varied and beautiful tone poems. The bit that actually just comes after this blinding sunrise at the very beginning is the most wonderful music for sort of divided strings. So violas split into how many parts do we go into? Violas we go into 4 separate parts. Cellos go into 3 parts, so you get this really lush, rich string texture. Very beautiful, and the piece just has all sorts of different kind of twists and turns that you're not expecting. Quite amazing. And Rachmaninoff, well, there are 3 other gorgeous movements, which take you through the whole journey of the symphony, which is a very moving one. I mean, Rachmaninoff was someone of low self-confidence, who often suffered from long composer's blocks and that kind of thing, where he just couldn't write at all. This is the Second Symphony is a piece that he initially had huge doubts about, and then kind of eventually gained him great fame, and he won awards for it. And now, of course, it's one of our absolute staples of the orchestral repertoire. Brief Encounter, that's the film that the Second Piano Concerto is in. So check out the rest of the pieces; they are absolutely wonderful. And if you want to, play along to recordings of the rest of them at home, please do. The rest of the Strauss and the rest of Rachmaninoff are quite hard, but nothing that's not worth having a stab at, that's for sure. So what we're going to do today, we've got an hour until 4 o'clock my time. Basically, we're just going to have a kind of playthrough and just a little kind of look at these pieces. We've got backing tracks for you, which are just the Orchestra for the Earth players, so just one person on each part. So it's a kind of skeleton of each of the pieces. So you'll hear a kind of idea of how it's going to sound, but crucially you'll hear what an important role your recordings are going to play in it, particularly in the string section, where you really sort of, it goes from being 1 violin to being 16 violins and makes a huge difference. But in the winds and brass as well, you will add a tremendous amount of kind of warmth and depth to the sound, as well as character and expression and everything else. So it's going to be great fun playing along with them. I'm going to see if I can also perhaps occasionally show you what it sounds like, just different sections of the orchestra playing at the same time, because there's so much wonderful detail in these pieces that sometimes it's nice to have the luxury that we do when it's recorded in this way, to be able to kind of pick out different bits and see what they sound like. Okay, so I would ask you to tune to my piano. I mean, let's give it a go. It's not a bad A, but I haven't been able to get it tuned for months and months now, of course. But let's have a little tune, and then we'll have a crack at the Strauss to begin with. So here's an A. Just get yourselves nice in tune. Make sure you're also sitting comfortably, or standing if you want to. Depends on the instrument, really, and depends how you're feeling. Great. We're always going to tune to 440. There's actually a marvelous moment when I was editing the Strauss together, because the wonderful organ that Richard Gowers was playing. The funny thing about organs is they're often tuned slightly differently, depending on the cities. It's a bit like cities used to have very slightly different time zones, basically dictated by the clock in the cathedral. They also had slightly different tuning systems, which are based around the organ, because it's obviously very difficult to tune organs historically to be exactly the same pitch. And Richard's organ that he was playing was about 17 cents flatter than 440, so it sounded a little weird to begin with. But I've cranked it up, so we're on the same pitch now. Okay, so this Strauss begins with very long contrabassoon, double basses, organ, bass drum, and then that feels like it's going to go on for absolutely forever. And then I'll bring the trumpets in. We're in 4 beats in a bar, crotchets in a bar, and then wham bam, the famous bit where the rest of us come in with quite a lot of aplomb. So here we go. Hope you can hear it. You'll hear me counting along on the master track as well. 1, 2, 3, basses. Trumpets. Two, 3, 4. Timpani. There we go. What an opening to a piece. Isn't that so good? Hope it's fun to play. You can imagine that moment at the end when we're on that great big C major chord and then the orchestra comes off. When the organ was a couple of notches flat, it sounded pretty weird. But there we go. It sounds amazing. It's a thrilling moment, that, actually. If you ever get the opportunity to hear this piece live, go and hear it live, because nothing quite beats the experience of hearing that opening with a full orchestra in a concert hall. It's quite amazing. Well done. It's not a hugely challenging play in a good way. You know, you can just kind of just go for it. The only thing, really the major thing, just to watch out for, is obviously those semiquavers, which are quite tricky to get together. If you can count in the previous bar in semiquavers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. That'll help a lot. But partly it's kind of close your eyes and hope for the best with that kind of bit. And the other thing is, it's only, despite kind of how one might want to play it, it's only forte at the very beginning in that first entry, because we've got to make sure that there is a contrast between that forte and then the fortissimo we reach by figure 1. Otherwise, that figure 1 moment won't be as thrilling as it needs to be. So have a great time. It's there to be enjoyed. When we get to this bit, that stuff, having been quite kind of choppy with those opening dotted rhythms, it can be a bit broader in those cha pa pa ta 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 ta, quite lyrical almost. You know, it's heroic, and there can be a kind of sung heroic quality there. And bassoons and trombones just have a great time on that descending C major scale. It really is a phenomenal description of a sunrise. Okay, hey, let's give it one more go from the top. That contra bassoon sounds good, doesn't it? Okay. Big breath. There we go. I could do that several times more, given the chance. Well done. Yeah, really enjoy those double hairpins, the ones which go D crescendo and then a really exciting crescendo. Happens 4 times overall. It's such a great piece. Great. Like I say, check out the rest of it, because that is only the beginning, and there's loads more. I mean, you get this. The next bit, it kind of relaxes, as it only could do after that moment, and then this gorgeous viola melody. That's what you got in treat afterwards if you want to give it a listen. Okay, that's enough Strauss. Let's have a look at Rachmaninoff then. If you haven't got yourself hold of a full score, there are loads online, but you can get these little ones. I mean, The notes are quite small, so it's a bit difficult if you're trying to play it on the piano. But it's great for having a look at what else is going on around you. If you're interested in that kind of thing, which I hope you are. So this piece, wow, what an absolute gem this one is. It's about 15 minutes long, and really it's just one long arc. It kind of starts rich but relatively introverted, and then builds and builds and builds to this huge climax in the middle, and then the rest of the piece is this kind of glorious kind of sunset, maybe you could say, in contrast to the sunrise of the Strauss. So find your music for the Rachmaninoff, and let's give it a play through. It's a great choice for us, I think, this piece, because every part is so beautifully written. You've got solos for all of the woodwind players, solos for the brass as well, and beautiful kind of rich chordal brass writing, and then the string writing with all this kind of divisi stuff is just to die for. Let's give it a go. It's in a slow 4 throughout. There's quite a lot of rubato where we kind of pull the tempo around. This music wouldn't sound right if it was sort of metronomic and strict. It has to be really fluid and expressive. That's how Rachmaninoff, there are plenty of great recordings of Rachmaninoff playing the piano and conducting, and that's how he always did it. Just kind of go with the flow. It should feel natural, so just use your ears and watch and see how it feels. Very occasionally when it gets quite a lot slower, I'll go into quavers, but I'll go back over it and explain any bits like that. But let's just give it a play, see how it feels. Starts with the violas. One, two, three, 4, 1. What a wonderful piece. It really is like one long melody, really, isn't it? One 15-minute melody that just starts, and once it starts, it doesn't stop until it's said what it needs to say. Whew. Well, take a breather. It may be slow, but it's not easy in any way, really. You know, really requires a sort of long concentration, that piece, and engagement. Lots of very sustained lines, lots of very flexible tempo, that kind of thing. But wow, it really pays off, doesn't it? What a thing to play. It's amazing, really, when you play that through and you think, well, there's 3 other movements in that symphony. That's not just it. I'm sorry if there's a bit of background noise. We've got neighbours moving in. I can't hear it if I've got my headphones on, but we've got neighbours moving in next door, and we've got very thin stone walls, so we can hear pretty much every bump and crash. I just saw something about A clarinets. Yes, it is written for A clarinet, by which I mean a clarinet in the key of A, for those of you that's what an A clarinet means. Rachmaninoff chose that because A clarinets have a kind of richer, fruitier tone, more kind of peaceful tone maybe, than a B flat clarinet, which is ideal for this kind of movement. If you don't have one, you may be in the habit of transposing the part. If not, email Mark and I will happily write out a part in B flat for you, so you can play along. Of course, if anything, you know, if you get lost or anything when we're playing these things through, you can always pause and go back. That's one of the luxuries of this way of doing it. But of course, really doesn't matter if you get lost, because you can always have another go. And that was just a first run through. Great stuff. Okay, really, really good. I might as well just quickly go over that ending, because that's where it really slows up, and it might be a little tricky to follow. So this is before the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars before the end. I'm just going to go 9 bars before the end. I'm just going to play it for you, and I'll count along. So this is 9 bars before the end. So 3, 4. 1, 2, 1. Sorry, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 4. So it gets slow and then it moves on again. Sorry, I can't see the keys when I've got the microphone in the way. I'll just play that once more, 9 bars before the end. So watch out. 7 bars before the end, it really slows up, and we basically go into quavers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then 6 before the end. In the next bar, we're back into crotchets. So 9 before the end goes like this. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then violas. 4 and 1, and then cellos. 3 with the basses. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I hope that makes sense. Let's try it. Instead of me playing the piano, let's try it with the backing track and me conducting, and I'll do a bit of counting out loud as well. So just going, we'll go from figure 57. Let me just find that in the backing track. this is a few bars before 57. I'll start counting at 57. So, this is 57 coming up. 3. It is here. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Violas. 4 and 1, 2. Cellos and basses. Boom. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the rest of you just hold that chord for a really long time and just let it evaporate. Great, well done. You know, we often sit in orchestra rehearsals and think, what was the conductor doing there? You know, I was busy looking at my music I couldn't see, or I didn't quite understand it the first time. Us conductors are notorious for doing sort of erratic and confusing and illogical things. So if it doesn't make sense the first time, the great thing about this is you can pause it, you can rewind, watch again, until it makes sense. But that's the only bit where really the kind of beat pattern, I think, gets a bit confusing. The rest of the time, basically, we're just in a slow, sort of flowing 4 for the whole movement. Malcolm's got a question. Oh yeah, about transposing. Okay, great. Let us then just have a little look at another couple of bits and pieces. The opening, actually quite a tricky opening for the violas, to just kind of pick up those triplets out of nowhere. It just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. So we just got to kind of go for it there. Should we just try that? Just violas and cellos, basses. Well, in fact, everybody at the beginning, just without the first violins for now. Just see if we can get that first bar really together. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's it. Yeah, just stick onto those triplets. And then against that, the first violins come in. And 4 and 1, 2. And then this true Rachmaninoff fashion, we have what's called a sequence in music, where we get that. Same again, just getting lower. Just like a sequence of sighs. Into that wonderful clarinet solo. Okay, so let's have a go at that with the backing track and just see how it kind of slots together. So from the very beginning with everybody. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. slows up a little bit here. 3 and 4 and 1. And there we go. So that's brilliant. The key with this bit, after that first little opening gesture, is just listen to the clarinet. So whatever you're doing underneath, just go with the clarinet, fit with the clarinet, because it's really their moment. And everyone else is just building this gorgeous, beautiful bed of sound. Everyone is important in that, because of course without your accompaniment, the clarinet would sound a little bit on their own. With it, it sounds just divine. Okay, so then that section kind of goes, and we get up to figure 47, where the first violins kind of and the oboes take over with the tune. So just before figure 47, you get these 2 bars that go like this. And then the cantabile, the first violins come in, and it just slightly moves forward at 47. So just make sure you're kind of holding onto the tempo at that point, so that it really, really keeps flowing. So let's give that a little go. We'll go from just before 47, and just go with the first violins at this moment. Okay, so just coming up to figure 47. This is 2 bars before 47 is here. 2, 3, 4. Bar before 47, 2, and first violins and oboes. Figure 47. Crescendo. Great. Yeah, well done. So you see that that's one of the places where the tempo is quite fluid. In the 4th bar of 48, we've got poco più mosso, a little bit faster there for where we go. So it really kind of moves off there. Cello's pizzicato. And the violins. Flute going. And those beautiful kind of quite colourful scales. So just keep an eye on the ball there, because then it slows up again in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th bar of 48, going up the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So it really slows up there. Let's just give that a go. Let's just go on 48, just with me playing the piano. So figure 48. 1, 2, 3. Really well done. So stick on the ball there. And then after that little row, we get the brass come in on the 4th beat, and then at tempo, the same thing again. Same thing happens again. So that's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th bar after 48. Slows up and then moves on. Let's just try that with the backing track then. We'll go from around 48 and just watch these little tempo changes. Okay. Okay, so about to start 2 bars before 48. So here we go. 2 bars before 48 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And this is figure 48 here. Moving forward, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's it. Yeah. Great. Just a slightly tricky corner. It's basically the end of the first section. That Rachmaninoff, master of form, of course, finishes the first section by kind of rounding it off with that tune that we had at the beginning. That sequence of size. So we feel like we've kind of had a fairly complete opening section, and it's fortissimo and forte this time, so it's kind of glorified. And then this next section kind of moves off in a new direction. Okay, great, and we get some lovely cor anglais, oboe, cello, viola moments here. All around bar 14, figure 49, because 49 we have oboe, with the cor anglais going. And just a little reminder that when you come to record your parts, you are welcome to record whichever and as many of as you like of the parts in your section. So if you're an oboist, you can just record oboe 2 if that's your favourite part, or you can just record the cor anglais part, or you can just record oboe 1, or you can record all of them, and then you'll be in the final performance 3 times, which is something you can't do in a normal performance. So just pick whichever you like, because moments like this where it's an oboe and a cor anglais duet, it might be quite fun to duet with yourself. Beautiful moment. Okay, let's yeah, so this section, if we look at bar 50, basically the way this is not bar 50, figure 50, this is when it really starts building up to our main climax. again, another kind of sequence building, one step at a time. And the tempo moves forward as well. So by the time we get to 4 bars before figure 51, we're really flowing. So this is 4 bars before figure 51. This is really moving. It's that wonderfully kind of strange mixture of kind of melancholy and ecstasy, really. And we build all the way up to the fortissimo, 5 bars after 51. Let's try it. Let's try it going from figure 50 all the way up to that climax. Okay, here we go. About to be figure 50. I'll count you in. So 3, 4, 1, 2. So starting quite gently, slow crescendo. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Forte now. Horns. Getting louder and louder, building in intensity. Trumpets. There we go. Bravo. Yeah, glorious, glorious moment. I love the way at that big climax you get, where is it? So it's a few bars after 51. Yeah, and you get this huge kind of C major arrival point. Inside all of that, the detail of the orchestration is just really exquisite, because my pages keep closing themselves. You get just the second flute. Who would have thought it, going? And passing through the woodwinds, that lovely kind of detail inside. And underneath it, in the horns and in the brass, that theme, that kind of oscillating theme, which if you, it'll let you into a little secret of this piece. There are many secrets to this piece. The very beginning of the whole symphony begins like this. There we go. We've got what the horns are playing right in the bass, and then what the flute was playing But then here, in the climax of the slow movement, it's turned into a much less kind of gloomy, much less ominous figure, and into something just absolutely gorgeous. Great. Okay, so that's, like I say, the kind of big arrival point in the middle of the movement, and the rest of it is really like a sort of reprise of the opening, with the same theme coming back, passed between the instruments. At 52 then, just after that moment, you get this lovely bit in the strings. Triplets in the violins and violas there. And then the horn plays a lovely melody. At the same time, the melody we had from before, which was originally in the oboes and the first violins. And then come 53, the first violins take the theme that was originally the clarinet theme. So there we go. Well, let's, just to finish off, let's go from 56 to the end, because A, it's very beautiful, and B, there are just a couple of things to watch out for. In the third bar of 56, it just starts to move forward a little bit, and then we have a rallentando a few bars later, and then it really slows up into the fourth bar before 57. So let's try it. 56 to the end. Just keep an eye on the tempo, and if it doesn't make sense first time, you can always rewind. Okay, here we go. So this is just going into 56. Here's 56. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now moving forwards. Cellos. Slowing 3 and 4 and 1. Ready for the tempo here. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Great. Great stuff. Well done. So that's just a kind of crash course of both pieces. You have these wonderful tutorials from musicians in Orchestra for the Earth on each of your instrumental parts. So you can watch those and really kind of get inside the detail of this music, how to play it specifically with your instrument as well. They've got loads of tips because this is kind of repertoire that they've played lots, so they really know it inside out. And you also have some really helpful master tracks, which are me playing the piano plus your section, so plus the oboes or plus the first violins or plus the horns. So you have the kind of skeleton of the music at the piano, but then your part really clearly kind of audible, so you can play along with, and that's what you can record along to, and then you submit your recordings, and then I mix it all together, and we have our performance of these two pieces, a very special performance indeed. I'm really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to hearing you send in your recordings and then hearing them kind of turn into performance. It's going to be great. Any questions, always get in touch with Mark, and he can pass on questions to me that are relevant to me, and I'll always get back to you. And that's about it, really. Please do listen to the rest of the pieces. They're wonderful. There are lots of great recordings out there as well. Some wonderful music to enjoy. Lovely to see all of you. Enjoy your Easter weekend. It's not currently sunny here, but I'm hoping there might be a bit of sunshine. Thank you and goodbye.